Hey, Janet.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how's it going?
They just want to know. We're in this together. Do you want to help? Is that one I don't know? Yeah, so it's not really. Hi, B. How are you? I'm very good. Mom decided to come. No, not now, at 5:30.
Okay. I was gonna say. The U is Lynn. That's why I made sure I brought this.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the Public Property and Parks Committee meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Counsel Staubed?
Present.
Present Counsel LaPierre? Absent Counsel Calucci? Present. Present Counsel Chakutis? Present. Present Counsel Field?
Present.
Okay, thank you. Two items on the agenda. The first is discussion regarding the bid on Wright Street. This was a piece of public property that we had put out to bid. I believe it was late summer or early fall. We got one offer back, and it was in the amount of $15,000 to Laura Walsh of John's Oil Company. They are really one of the only abutters to this property. They're going to use it for parking and for preservation of the grounds around it, so there'll be no building. So it'll just be for parking use. And
Motion to approve.
motion's been made to accept it. Seconded? Seconded by Councilor Chakutis. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Counsel Staubed?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel LaPierre? Absent Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, second item on the agenda, we have some folks that would like to speak in regards to possible uses of property at 2 State Street and 37 Friend Street. We have some of the department heads with us here tonight that would like to speak on it. And first, I'd like to call up Health Director Michelle Dismaris. Welcome, Michelle.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
The Public Health Division is in favor of acquiring additional space. The pandemic has changed public health as we all know it in the past, and it will be changed going forward dramatically. I think that to acquire more space is a legitimate public purpose, that we would be able to have more clinics, open them up to more people. Extra space would allow the Health Division to also provide flu shots at a different time. You know, it would be a dedicated space to the public, that the public would know that the Health Division is there. They could come anytime for information. It'd be great also, so we could do education classes. We would offer up those. It's also good for, you know, since COVID has come, we've accumulated extra staff. So right now we use 206, and then we're up on 401. So if there's extra space that we could just, you know, maybe someday all be together, that would be great. I also think, too, the Health Division is receiving more grants, and as we receive more grants, we receive more people, and it allows us to open up to the community. You know, for instance, this is Black History Month, so that we could pick a topic for Black history and have, you know, whether it's a blood pressure clinic, we'd be able to do like education on diabetes, education on obesity, proper nutrition. If there are some people who needed to, where to go get food, we could give them all of those particulars. So also too, I think it's, and February is also Heart Month, so we'd be able to provide a lot of educating information, which we aren't allowed, don't have enough space upstairs to have the public come in and to do like a class on, watching your cholesterol, how you should eat, and what kind of signs to look for if you are having heart issues. So I would ask you that the health department would benefit greatly to an extra dedicated space. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions, Michelle? Okay, Michelle, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next I'd like to call up Fire Chief Steve Archer. Welcome, Chief.
Welcome. Thank you. Thanks, councilors, for the opportunity to speak on this. The fire department also feels that additional space being allotted would be valuable to us as well. One thing in particular we're eyeing is space for our fire alarm office, which currently operates out of the Baldwin Street building, and space in that building right now is really, really tight. We don't have adequate space for things like proper shower facilities for the fire alarm operators when they are working long shifts and frequently forced to be held over for additional shifts. There's not enough room really for a proper break and rest area for them during these long shifts, as well as also have an office space for the communications supervisor and others to be in there would be very helpful as well. I don't know if any of you have ever been in there, but it's really, really tight constraints inside that office. And it really would serve a public purpose for us to be able to get a larger facility to use for fire alarm. Essentially, they're more or less really a regional dispatch center is what we are now, in that we do dispatch for Nahant and Swampscott as well as for the Lynn Fire Department. So having adequate facilities for office space, shower facilities, break rooms, that sort of thing really would be a huge help to the fire department, to the fire alarm office, and serve a public purpose in that regard. So we just think it makes sense to be able to have a little bit larger facilities for what we need. So that's how we think it would be really, really helpful to us to utilize the room.
Okay, great. Any questions for the chief? Okay.
Thanks for your time.
Yes. Deputy Chief Arthur Pritchard.
We are right now renting that space from Wayne Alarm and paying a monthly fee. I can't remember off the top of my head what that fee is, but we're actually paying a monthly fee for the use of that space. Wayne Alarm has been great to us. It has been a good working relationship. Not a knock on them, nothing against them. It has been a really a good working relationship. But again, we'd obviously be saving the rental fees on what we are paying, what the city is paying in there right now. And so it's not really so much an issue of the good working relationship where we're renting it as much as it is just a simple matter of square footage is really what it comes down to.
Okay, you have another question in the back there.
Yeah, as the deputy said, it's $5,400 a month. So it's a significant amount of money, an outlay that's going out each and every month to, that the city's paying out each and every month for that space. So if we were to move into a building that the city owns or the city has acquired, that's just money that stays in the city coffers.
Okay. Any other questions, Deputy Chief Richard? CFO Mike Patino.
I had a question.
Right now, we are dispatching just for the Swampscott and Nahant as well. But obviously, the notion of regionalizing dispatch is something that gains a little bit more all the time in the fire service. So we could potentially see the day come when we're actually dispatching for even more than those other two communities. It kind of is a little bit a wave of the future when it comes to dispatch. And obviously, we also work in close coordination with Metro Fire as well. So I hope that answers your question. Yeah.
Council Field.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Chief, do you know I don't know if it's a question for you or the deputy. Do you know the current terms for the lease that you have? Is it set to expire shortly, or
I believe it was
biannual?
I believe it was a 5-year lease. Is that correct? That we signed with them that is set to expire. You know the expiration date? Is it this summer? Yeah, it's a 5-year lease, if my memory serves me correct, and I think it's set to expire at some point this summer. So we actually are coming up to the end of that lease, where we would then have the option to, how we decide to move forward.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Next up, Inspectional Services Director, Mike Donovan. Welcome, Mike.
Good afternoon, councilors. If I slur a little bit, it's because I just came from the dentist a little while ago. So the city has numerous spatial needs: school department, fire department, city hall, public health. The city has been growing, as we know from the recent census. We've gone from 90,000 people to 102,000 people. From the school side, the additional children overcrowding schools, and then the calls for early education schooling. With the additional students in the schools have gotten additional staff members, administrators to administer the school programs, and school administration building is overflowing at this point. The schools are overflowing. These buildings that are being looked at today would meet public purposes, sound public uses for the fire department, for the school department, for the health department, for the senior center. There is no question in my mind that the public will be best served by allowing the city to use these buildings. So for the city to take them for public purposes would be, I think, it would somewhat meet our spatial needs. Obviously, it doesn't meet our needs for schools, but it would put us in a better spot than we are today, and we will be going forward. Any questions?
Yeah. Any questions, Mike?
Thank you.
Yeah, Mike, thank you. We have Director of Elder Services, Chris Gomez. Welcome, Chris.
So the Lynn Senior Center was a vital part of our community and has been missing for a couple of years now, as we all know. And it was more than a senior center for our seniors. It was like a lifeline. They did a lot of stuff there. A lot of them got their only real meal in the senior center. So this pandemic has been really hard for our seniors, and I think it's time we make it right for them. And it serves a legitimate public purpose. Every city has a senior center. We haven't had one in a couple of years. Our senior population is 16,000 plus, and we think it's time we do right by them. The senior center is a place where they congregate, they receive services, they do activities. Yeah, we get calls daily. People, they really miss this place, and we're also we're gonna offer a lot of new programs and stuff. So I think it serves this legitimate purpose, and hopefully we can get a space sooner rather than later to help all the seniors out. Any questions?
We've been trying, for a while, how many RFPs have gone out, so I think we all agree, especially Councilor Chakoudas. Are there any questions for Chris? No? Thank you, Chris. And Dr. Tutwiler, Superintendent of Schools, had planned to be here and wasn't able to, but he did send a letter and asked me to read it into the record, dated February 7th, 2022, to whom it may concern. I'm writing this brief missive in full support of the city's plan to explore acquiring property at 2 State and 37 Friend Street. For each of the past 15 years, the enrollment in the Lynn Public Schools has seen a steady increase. Enrollment increases happen most notably through traditional kindergarten registration, move-ins, particularly at the high school level, and among students who qualify for special educational services through our pre-kindergarten programs. While we have experienced notable increases at each of these entry points and more, the plan to acquire additional properties would prove extremely beneficial to supporting pre-kindergarten classroom space needs. At present, pre-kindergarten classrooms are housed in many of our elementary schools. The current enrollment in pre-kindergarten extends beyond available space in our school buildings. Accordingly, the district has leased space at the YMCA over the past 3 years. Further, we recently posted a request for proposals for lease space for pre-kindergarten classrooms. While we are finalizing an award, the need still remains. Should the city move forward with its plan, it will create several much-needed opportunities to create additional pre-kindergarten classrooms as a result. Additionally, all Lynn families register students now to the district at our Welcome Center, formerly known as Parent Information Center, or PIC. While we have made significant alterations to the space and processed the location at 100 Bennett Street remains especially unideal. The location at 100 Bennett Street is not accessible by public transportation. We have many families who take public transportation to the closest stop on Commercial Street and then walk approximately a half mile to reach the Welcome Center. It should be noted that parts of that walk down Bennett Street include stretches where there is no paved sidewalk. Additionally, many families arrive with the student they intend to register, plus additional family members. It typically takes 30 to 45 minutes to complete registration for one student, and we have plans for adding additional screening to the registration process. The waiting area is insufficient at present. The district posted a request for proposals for lease space for the Welcome Center. There were no proposals submitted. The city plans provides a unique and desirable opportunity to move the Welcome Center to a more accessible site with more suitable accommodations for families. In total, I see potential acquirement of the property at 2 State Street and 37 Friend Street as solving some critical space challenges in the Lynn Public Schools, particularly around pre-kindergarten programming and with the Welcome Center. Please do not hesitate to contact me if there is a need for additional information and/or explanation. Respectfully, Patrick Tutwiler, Ph.D., Superintendent of Schools. And I believe that is all for those that wish to submit testimony on behalf of acquiring those 2 sites. There are no votes to be taken. It's for informational purposes. And seeing no other items on the agenda, is there any new business? What is the wish of the committee?
Motion to accept correspondence as testimony given.
I'll second that.
Motion been made, seconded. Further discussion? Roll call, please.
Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel LaPierre, absent. Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, no other business?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion been made. Second. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Enough?
Not yet. Good evening, everyone. Today, February 8, 2022. I would like to call the Utilities Committee meeting to order. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Counsel Alan-Sug.
Present.
Present Counsel Lozey. Absent Counsel Chakutis.
Present.
Present Counsel Calucci.
Present.
Present.
Okay, we have 2 items on the agenda. Madam Clerk, please read them. Please read the first one.
First one we have is a petition to Boston Gas Company National Grid to install 4 concrete footings along the north and south sides of the roadway with a structural steel column and a brace to protect the natural gas main mounted on an inactive MBTA railroad bridge on Bennett Street. Also, National Grid is to install updated warning signage with sidewalk and wheelchair ramp identified in the drawings.
Is there anybody here who wish to speak in favor? Anybody here wish to speak in favor? Anybody here wish to speak in favor? Seeing none, that part of the hearing is closed. Is there anybody here who wish to speak in opposition? Opposition? Anybody here wish to speak in opposition? Seeing none, that part of the hearing is closed. What is the wish of the committee? Councilor Hogan?
Yes, the Bennett Street Bridge gas line is a very dangerous situation down in Bennett Street area of the Ward 6 neighborhood. So this work that's going to be done by National Grid is much needed for the neighborhood, just to protect that gas line, because many 18-wheelers have hit this bridge over the last couple of years and for a long time. So this is a good safety device that's going to be put in place with new signage, and I'm definitely in support of this. Thank you.
Motion to approve?
You guys. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Petition carries. The next public hearing, Madam Clerk.
Petition to National Grid to install PVC conduit from an existing manhole on Buffum Street to 69 Baldwin Street and to install a UG switchgear MH partially on public property below the sidewalk.
There anybody here wish to speak in favor? Please name your name
Good
and
morning,
address, please.
excuse me, good afternoon, John Jankowski, National Grid, 170 Medford Street in Malden, Mass. I'm representing National Grid. So there's going to be a huge, a large apartment building at the corner of Baldwin and Buffum, so we have to provide service. So we are going to have to install some conduit from a manhole out in the street to private property, probably about probably about 80 feet of conduit to private property. If you have any questions or concerns, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you. You can take your seat, sir. Thank you very much. Is there anybody here who wish to speak in favor? Anybody here wish to speak in favor? Anybody here wish to speak in favor? Seeing none, that part of the hearing is closed. Anybody here wish to speak in opposition? Anybody here wish to speak in opposition? In opposition? Seeing none, that part of the hearing is closed. What's the wish of the committee?
Motion to approve.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Petition carries.
Thank you.
Joe Calucci.
Okay. The National Grid representative.
That's her, yeah.
Right. We already approved it. Yeah. Okay, go ahead, Councilor Hogan. Representative from National Grid, please.
Bennett Street.
Go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Faith Hassel from National Grid, and I have Brad with me as well from National Grid. We're here petitioning the right to install an aerial buffer on Bennett Street in front of the train bridge. We have a 200-pound gas main in front of that bridge, and as some of you have probably known in the past, it's been hit by some trucks, and we had a major incident a few years ago, had to evacuate the area. So I have plans if you'd like to see them. I don't know if I'm allowed to.
Please do. If there's questions from the councilors.
So, do you want me to come up there and bring it?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, so on page 6, it kind of just shows an overview of, we'll be installing the aerial buffer at the corner of South Street and Bennett Street. It'll have clear signage that'll show the height. It'll have reflectors on it as well. And the idea behind this is that it'll be far enough forward where the trucks can still turn right on South Street, but it'll inhibit them from moving forward, so they would hit that before hitting the bridge and causing any further damage. We have been in contact with both of the abutters, Westland Auto and then 84 as well. I don't know if they're here or not. But we've been communicating with them to tell them about the plan. Westland Auto has, expressed deep concern as well about the safety of that pipe as well. So, I don't know. You want to add anything?
I guess the only thing I'd add is we've tried to design this obviously with public safety in mind to protect the gas line. It'll be set at the same height as the existing bridge, so no changes there. We're also installing updated signage on both what we're calling the aerial buffer, as well as new signage upstream, if you will, of the structure to maintain all federal and Massachusetts signage code as well.
Thank you. Councilor Hogan.
Yes, is there any way in the future that those lines could be buried or put underneath the bridge?
So the goal here, I think it's National Grid, we don't want to be in the business of owning things like this, but we are recognizing that that's going to take some time to move the line, and we're actually trying to design that right now, so that is in our plans to move the gas line. What that looks like, whether we're burying it or raising it up higher on a separate structure, we're trying to figure that out now. But that is part of the goal, that this is a temporary structure to give us time to move the line off the bridge.
So if you're, in the future, if you're having plans like that there, I would like to be involved, just to let me know how it's going, if the plan's going forward, just so I can let the constituents in the area know, because that is very scary for those residents in that neighborhood, especially knowing that that bridge has been hit many times, and we know how powerful that gas line is, and we would really appreciate it, the city and the residents, that if we could get that thing buried And if we are moving forward on that, we'd like to be notified. All right? I'm Fred Hogan, I'm the Ward 6 City Councilor.
I'll give you my business card after.
All right. All right, great.
Any follow-up questions? No more? Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
We already approved that. Thank you for the additional information. Everyone, what's the wish of the committee?
Motion to adjourn?
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Doesn't Dan know he works at the State House now?
Good? Good enough here?
Licensing Committee for Tuesday, February 8th. Roll call, please.
Counsel Field?
Present.
Present Counsel Hogan.
Present.
Present Counsel Lozey, absent Counsel Net.
Present.
Present Counsel Alensug.
Present.
Present. Okay, we have new taxi operators, Ivan Cruz.
Mr. Cruz,
Ivan Cruz.
what's the wish of the committee?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion
Second.
to approve. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. Mr. Cruz, thank you. That motion is carried. Your license will be ready in the clerk's office on Thursday morning after 8:30. Okay? Thank you. You're all set.
We're all set.
All set.
Thursday.
Thursday after 8:30.
8:30, you can pick it up in the clerk's office.
Next.
Okay, next we have Juan Carlos Joaquez. Juan Carlos?
Okay. You here? Okay. What is the wish of the committee?
Motion to
You
approve.
have a motion to approve?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Coco Alonso. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Marquise, Thursday after 8:30 in the clerk's office, your license will be ready.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good week. Next.
Okay, we have a new livery company, AT Business Solutions. The owner is Columbus Jinken?
Yes, sir. Okay. What is the wish of the committee?
Motion to approve?
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
Here we go.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Your license will be ready on Thursday morning after 8:30 in the clerk's office. You're all set.
They're also here for
Okay.
livery,
Yep.
too.
Columbus is also here for a livery operator license, and Jeanette Jinken is also here
Okay.
for,
Both are here? Okay.
Livery
What is the
license.
wish of the committee?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, those are approved. Again, Thursday after 8:30 in the clerk's office. Thank you for being here. Thank you.
okay, we have a transfer of ownership for a Class 2 auto dealer auto repair flammable license. We're removing one of the owners at 75 Boston Street. It's Boston Street Auto Sales.
What is the wish of the committee?
Motion to approve?
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you.
We have a new auto repair license at 38-46 Bennett Street, New England K Auto Services, Inc. And we have
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have someone here. You want to speak?
Second.
All set? Okay. Councilor Hogan?
We want to put the regular stipulations on the business also. you'll be closed on Sundays, all right?
Yep.
All right, and then, the hours are 6 PM? Yep, 6 PM, and closed on Sundays. And, I went down and looked at the area. You're in the new building?
Yep.
New building, beautiful building, so I'll come down and see you down there too and check out, see how your business is, all right?
Thank you.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you,
Okay,
everyone.
thank you, Councilor Hogan. We have a motion to approve with those stipulations. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, that carries. Thank you, you're all set.
Okay, and the final licenses are renews.
Okay, we'll take them as a whole if we can. Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
We have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Those are all approved. Do we have any other business, any new business or old business?
No, we don't.
We do not. Any wish of the committee for a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. We have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
We have three this evening. One is Tree Market at 100 Ford Street, Massachusetts Green Retail at 829 Boston Street, and Essex Apothecary at 233 Western Ave. I did speak to Heather Hannon, the owner of Essex Apothecary, who's unable to be here tonight. She did send correspondence. That building is pretty much done and wrapped up, hoping to get an occupancy permit this week. And then it's just a matter of getting final CCC approval to be able to open. From what that building was to what it looks like now, it looked like a total junkyard before. It's a nice looking building now, signs up, nice bright white, and it's nice to see that that property cleaned up finally. So it'll be good to see her finally get opened. And then we have Pete D'Agostino here representing Tree Market LLC on 100 Ford Street. This was approved a while back, former car lot on the corner of Boston and Ford. Welcome, Pete.
Thank you,
Just
Mr.
give
Chairman.
us a little update regarding how things are proceeding there.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. Diana, good to see you. Things have been candidly slow, but we finally turned a corner. We've completed all the cut and cap for the demo work. As you know, we're going to be taking down the building out by the street on the corner there. You may remember when we were last before the council, we updated you that the landowner has purchased the building behind it as well. So I think they're going to make some parking in the back where the old Union Hall is, if you will. So the property owner is the one doing the construction work there, and he gave us an update last week that all the cut and cap work had been done and that he was getting ready to submit the final demo permit. So as you may remember, there's a checklist, a laundry list of things. Typically the biggest delay is getting the utilities out there. So that's been completed and they're ready to tear the building down. My understanding is the building would be down this month and then they'll begin the construction. So hopefully you're saying the same things about 100 Ford as Essex, where it really turns the corner and looks great. And so we should have some additional information. We'll keep the committee updated as we go through the process. We did submit an updated timeline through Terry for the committee to have, and we're feeling pretty confident about the timeline, notwithstanding kind of the material delay. We incorporated those into the timeline so we wouldn't have to move it again, because we know building materials and such are taking a little longer. We tried to incorporate those delays into this update that you received this week so that we wouldn't have to change it again. So it could be a little bit better than what we predicted. That's our internally, that's our hope. But that's the update for now. So we're excited to finally have turned this corner and get this building down. I think that'll be a big step in moving forward. So that's what we're planning on doing this month.
Okay. Anticipation for completion?
Let me give you I just got the dates from the construction team here. So we were looking at February for the building to come down, construction beginning in April, and that taking about 6 months. So you're looking October timeframe.
Any questions for Mr. D'Agostino? No? Pete, thank you very much for coming up here.
Absolutely.
We'll probably be doing this again, asking for another update probably in May.
Okay.
So we'll give it 3 months, maybe do it quarterly.
Perfect.
Just so we know what's going on with the...
And by then we should have started, construction, so that would be a good time to come in and give the community an update. So we look forward to it.
Okay. Fantastic.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Pete.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a great night. Next up, Jordan Avery is here, principal of Mass Green Retail at 829 Boston Street, represented by attorney Sam Vitale. Welcome, gentlemen. And I did get the email from
Principal Bell. We
Principal
provided
Bell with the
a
build-out
written
and plans
submission that contains the pertinent data. We hope that every member of the committee has seen it. We could provide it if they have not. Within that written submission is a timeline. Jordan's here. We got provisional approval from the CCC, and he can address questions that the members may have with respect to the timeline.
Okay. And from the timeline that was sent out, it looks like you're hoping final inspections and commence operation in June of this year.
Correct.
Okay, is there anything you'd like to add, Mr. Avery?
Obviously, I just want to make clear that obviously it's been a long time that it's been obviously with the challenge of the lawsuit and things of that. But know that I want it the most, and I know you guys want it as well for the city. But know that this is my future, my career, and me. So know that we're working every day to move this along, and we just ask that anything you guys can do to also to assist us in the process of opening and getting along. We are, and we're working on it very hard with Sam, Prince LaBelle. I'm on calls every day with the architect, design plans that we included in your packet, and we're working through what we need to work through to get open and stay on time. Thank you.
Okay, and the contractors are there on a regular basis?
The contractors for the permits that were pulled have completed the permits that were pulled. We're in the process of being issued the final building permit, which would bring out the few contractors that are ready to go. Through about 15, 20 minutes ago, I heard there might be a small hiccup or hold up there from ISD. I'm sure Mike Donovan might be able to speak on it, but that's why I brought Sam Vitale with me, who handles a lot of the local zoning that might obviously whatever we have to work through on this process.
Okay, well, following this meeting, you may be able to catch up with him.
Perfect,
while he's in
thank
the
you.
Building. Mr. Cowdell.
Jordan, do you need any other approval from the state? Do you have all the approvals necessary now?
Yeah, we have our provisional license, and all required at this point now is the Ppl inspection, which is they come out to approve us to then bring cannabis into the facility. As soon as that's approved, then it's just that final last blessing to commence operations. But as far as the license, we have a license number, and we are a licensed business to operate. But we're just not yet expected to bring cannabis in until they approve that it's safe.
Hey, any other questions for Mr. Avery? Hey, Jordan, thank you very much.
Thanks.
And again, probably looking for another update sometime in May.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Any other business?
Motion to adjourn.
Hearing none. Motion made, seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Ready when you are.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Ways and Means Committee meeting. Madam Clerk, please, roll call.
Counsel Net?
Present.
Present. Counsel Staben?
Present.
Present. Counsel Barton?
Present.
Present. Counsel Chakutis?
Present.
Present. Counsel Walsh?
Present.
Present.
Madam Clerk, could you please read,
Okay.
should we start transfer?
We have three orders that were laid over. We have $970,000 to the school department to fund the shortfall in FY21 NSS calculation, $118,400 to the police department for body camera and emergency repairs for FY22, and $54,510 to the DPW for the second round of citywide street sweeping.
So what is the Ways Committee on that?
Make a motion approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Transfer, please.
We have a transfer of $310,000 to fund the Linfield Street reconstruction project subsidized by grant funds.
And what is the Ways Committee?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Next.
$35,873.86 to fund the personal buybacks per the collective bargaining.
What is the Ways Committee?
Motion approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Orders, please.
We have an order pursuant to votes of the Lynn City Council dated July 13th, 2021 and September 28th, 2021 regarding the American Recovery Plan Act. The Lynn City Council hereby authorizes that the city may authorize the allocation of the sum of $350,000 for equipment, supplies, and testing kits relating to the COVID-19 pandemic for the City of Lynn Health Department.
Motion approved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Ordered that the city may authorize the allocation of $50,000 from the rideshare fund for the purpose of purchasing electronic signage to be placed throughout the city of Lynn.
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Ordered that pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53, the city of Lynn hereby accepts a gift in the amount of $4,000 from AIC Management. These funds are to be allocated to the Lynn Police Department and the Lynn Fire Department equally. There is no stipulation as to what these funds are used for and shall be expended at the sole discretion of the police chief and the fire chief, so as long as said expenditures are in compliance with Massachusetts law.
Motion approved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis? Yes. Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Ordered that His Honor the Mayor and the Chief of Police are authorized to enter into a memorandum of understanding in a form satisfactory to the city solicitor relative to a gun violence prevention grant from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts where Roca, Inc. is the grant recipient and the Lynn Police Department shall be a subrecipient of such grant funding.
What is the Ways Committee?
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Certified funds, please.
Certified funds, we have certified $51,480 to the Fire Department by MEMA for the FFY21 Emergency Management Performance Grant.
What is the Ways Committee?
Second.
Motion approved.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Next, please.
Certified $50,000 for the FY22 Firefighter Safety Equipment Grant.
Motion approved.
Here, second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Last one, please.
Certified $40,637,157 to the school department for the FY22 FC 119 ESSA 3 grant.
Motion approved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Is there any emergency on these? No emergency? Mr. Spencer, please.
please, if they could.
That one for emergency?
Yes,
Which one again, I'm sorry?
350, the 50,000 ride share,
yes.
and the 4,000 AIC management?
Yeah, that's okay. That can wait over. If it,
And what about the ROCA?
and the obviously the grants,
Okay.
available funds.
Okay, so there's two emergencies, two items, or three?
Yeah, 2 emergencies
Okay, all right. Thank you, Mr. Spencer.
on the orders. Yes.
Motion for emergency.
Second.
Okay, may I motion to for emergency?
Yeah.
Okay, and roll call that?
Yeah. Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Any new business?
No new business.
New business? Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Okay, yes, second, and all in favor, motion to adjourn? Yes?
Aye.
All right,
Yes.
thank you.
Ultimately, we want them gasolines buried. You know what I mean?
Everybody ready? Under Armour. I'd like to call the city council meeting to order.
Your volume.
Hang it,
Yeah, I hear
hang
you.
it, Jay.
What's wrong with the volume?
Is it on? We're going to call the city council meeting to order. Please take your seats.
That's good.
Roll call.
Counsel Arlensug.
Present.
Present Counsel Barton.
Present.
Present Counsel Chakutis. Present Counsel Calucci. Present Counsel Field.
Present.
Present Counsel Hogan.
Present.
Present Counsel LaPierre.
Present.
Present Counsel Lozey. Absent Counsel Net.
Present.
Present Counsel Starboard.
Present.
Present Counsel Walsh.
Present. We ask everybody to rise for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Mr. President, can we remember the Sonia family?
Mr. President, the family of Dr. Fred Cole.
Pledge allegiance. Accept the minutes of January 25th.
Yes, sir.
A motion,
Second.
seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Communications.
We have communications from His Honor the Mayor. Dear councilors, I am hereby appointing the following members to serve on the Zoning Board of Appeals effective immediately, and their terms will expire accordingly. Ibrahim Lopez Hernandez, 24 Mount Vernon Street, as a regular member to the Zoning Board, expiring term January 15th, 2025. Sohn Wooten, 589 Essex Street, as a regular member. Term expires January 15th, 2027. Lori Makua, 4 Breed Terrace, as a regular member. Term expires January 15th, 2026. Brendan Duffy, 181 Den Quarry Road, as an associate member. Term expires January 15th, 2025. Brett Bennett, 69 Fair Oaks Ave, as an associate member. Term expires January 15th, 2023. Brianna Maggio, 18 Hawthorne Street, as an associate member. Term expires January 15th, 2026. Victor Olson, 18 Newcastle Street, as an associate member. Term expires January 15th, 2024. I am hereby appointing the following members to serve on the Conservation Commission effective immediately, and their terms will expire accordingly. Paul Guthrow, 14 Cameron Road. Term will expire May 22nd, 2022. Jocelyn Yaradamat, 67 Marion Street. Term will expire May 22nd, 2022. Brenda Escobar, 168 Euclid Ave. Term will expire May 22nd, 2024. Alexa Marquis, 16 Nels Pond Road. Term will expire May 22nd, 2024. Mary Lester, 482 Bay Road, South Hamilton, Mass. Term will expire May 22nd, 2023. Michael Toomey, 93 Judge Road. Term will expire May 22nd, 2023. I am also appointing the following members to serve on the Citizens Advisory Board, effective immediately, and their terms will all expire on January 5th, 2026. William Masiak, 23 Briar Hill Drive. Tish Makula, 23 Brownville Ave. Tanvir Marad, 9 Stephen Terrace. Latoya Ogambona, 20 Western Ave, 200 Western Ave. Cecilia Luan, 142 Washington Street, and Alicia Bingham, 1 Carroll Way. Sincerely, Mayor Jared C. Nicholson.
Motion to approve. A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Point-
Public discussion?
Point of clarification, we received the appointment letter from the mayor, and one appointee, Mary Lester, in the appointment letter, it says she's from 482 Bay Road, Lynn, Massachusetts, and the other says from South Hamilton. I just want to make sure that we are entering the right address for record purpose. Thank you.
For the record, her address is 482 Bay Road, South Hamilton, Massachusetts.
Be noted then. Thank you.
Yep. Councilor Field.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just, the communication, I think there's a discrepancy on some of the dates on our revised version. Okay.
So they were
Yes.
revised dates, yep.
They were revised again, okay. 'Cause
Yep.
the revised copy that we have still says some of the dates on the Zoning Board of Appeals are discrepancy.
They had to be staggered, so with the mayor's office and the law department, we fixed them, so I read them correctly.
Okay, thank
So
you.
these will go into the record.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other discussion? Roll call? We need a roll call, or just is it a regular vote? Do we need
Yep, roll call.
Okay, roll call.
Counsel Alensug?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Lozey? Absent. Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Walsh?
Yes. And anybody that might have their name read off, can you stand up for a second for us? I know there's a lot of people in the audience that are on those committees and stuff. Just want to thank you all for your service to the city. Really appreciate it. Sometimes those committees can be tough, as we all know, and I was a conservation board chair, and those meetings sometimes went on for 4 or 5 hours, so I appreciate you all. Thank you. All right, we have a discussion.
We have discussion with Arthur Dulong, Chairman of the Pine Grove Cemetery Commission, regarding the Pine Grove Cemetery Chapel.
Mr. Dulong, up to the podium.
Good afternoon. Arthur Dulong, Chairman of the Cemetery Commission. Been on the Cemetery Commission for 24 years. I should be up there and not down here. All right. Everybody likes a little history lesson. Pine Grove Cemetery started as a private cemetery owned by the Breeden-Newhall family in 1845 and was designed by Henry Dearborn, who also designed the Mount Auburn Cemetery. So we do have quite a little bit of history there. All right, and it was purchased by the city in 1850, and we finally got it recognized on the Register of Historic Places in 2012, excuse me. So now we'll get on to the Rhodes Chapel. There seems to be a resurgence in the interest in that beautiful chapel. So a little history on that, and then I'm telling you what we think we can do and what we really would like to do with the chapel itself. It's Romanesque. The architects were Shepley, Rutan, and Coolidge. They sound like my law partners. Built in 1891 for the sum of $10,000 by Lydia Newhall Rhodes in memory of her husband Amos Rhodes, who died in 1870. And then it was then gifted to the city of Lynn. So now, it has been closed since 1974. So with the pandemic, we've kind of lost a little traction as to what we were going to do and how we were going to do it. So now that that's pretty much subsided, we hope that we're coming up with a master plan. So we've had Spencer Preservation Group come in and take a look. They rehabbed the chapel in the Nahant Cemetery. Wonderful. So we know with restoration, it can be self-sustaining. You know, they use the chapels now in the cemeteries for weddings, wakes, funerals, parties, or whatever, and it does seem to work. And we have had Shakespeare in the Park up there a few times. So the beauty of the cemetery is beyond reproach. The beauty of the chapel itself, it needs a little bit of TLC. So we've been working with the City of Lynn DPW and the electric department, along with National Grid, to get electricity into the chapel itself. We've pretty much alleviated any water problems we're getting through the roof. Windows have to be done. So we'd like to get it pretty much up and running within 5 years. But now that we've had the asbestos removed, leaks plugged, now it's going to take a little bit of time to start the cleanup and then see what we have and then see what we need for restoration. So we love the interest, and as the commission now, we're realizing that what we went through with the getting it on the places, the historic places in 2012, it took 2 years of work. We utilized North Shore Community College. We utilized quite a few avenues where we reached out. So again, with the master plan, we're going to have to reach out again. But we're coming 7 years from the 400th anniversary of the settling of the city of Lynn, so I think that we can bring a little panache back to the cemetery and really make it what it's supposed to be. You know, people forget that before there were public parks, the cemeteries were the first public parks. So again, it's going to take a lot of work. We're going to ask for a lot of help. But anything can be attainable, and we realize that. So we realize we have a very diverse community. And just the other day when we opened it up for an inspection, the people that have been using the cemetery to walk, to exercise, to take their children through, it's become quite a place. So now the questions are being asked, and I was asked to come in here and kind of explain where we are and where we're going. So again, we've worked with Bobby Eldridge from the GE Good Neighbor Fund, and as far as applying for monies from there, we're going to need about, we figure about 10,000 plus to get the electricity from Boston Street into the structure itself. And then what we do with it in there, of course, added cost. But if we can stabilize, get the electricity in there, stabilize one or two of the windows, I think we can invite the public in with a broom and a dustpan or a cloth and help us clean it up so we can inspect it and then go on from there. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions from any of the councilors? Councilor Coco?
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for the presentation. I love the place. My husband and I and our friends love to walk that area. Every time we walk there, it's always closed, right? One day it was open and we checked it, and I could not believe that we are not utilizing that place for Lynn residents. So thank you for coming here and thank you for making some proposal. I don't think $10,000 is enough because it's moldy, you cannot breathe inside. I think there's more. I think my recommendation is to add more funds to your 10,000 and make that recommendation.
Sure. You know, a few years ago, we decided to, find out who the abolitionists were that were buried in the cemetery and spent a rainy day with John Kerry's sister, marking them all so we know where they are. And then we find a gentleman who was one of the original 100 throwing tea into Boston Harbor. So we had a ceremony. We invited the Tea Party Museum up there, and we made a day of it. There was so much more in there. The crypt of Metzellinger, who invented the shoe-lasting machine. We have 3 Congressional Medal of Honor winners in there. So I think the chapel is just that stone that we need to really do some wonder for the city, Lynn. And like I said, we're looking into, and I've traveled all over the state, multi-use of these buildings now. People are craving just to go there. And to utilize it and make it self-sustaining, I think is the way we should go, and we're going to start the journey today, I guess. So again, thank you very much.
I just want to say, I've been in there, and you're right on about it. It's really, it's a beautiful place. I know a lot of people haven't had the opportunity, which is kind of unfortunate, right? That's why we should try to get it to a spot to get it opened up for people.
I think by mid-May, we'll have the doors open and the dumpster out there, and we'll be handing out brooms.
I have one question. I'm going to put you on the spot. You ready?
Go ahead.
Is the wall in the cemetery the most continuous stone wall? Everybody, that's the question everybody's here for.
All right, so now with the easements, remember, the wall breaks up at the Hurd Street Playground.
Sure.
But with the easements, I think we fall into, after Hadrian's Wall, I think we're like number 4.
All right, so you heard it here first, right? We're number 4. We're going with that. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Good job. Councilor LaPierre.
Mr. President, I'm not sure if it's premature or not, but I would like to take action on this this evening, and I would refer this to our Ways and Means Chair and his committee to look into the feasibility of an appropriation that Mr. Dulong cited to make the necessary repairs. So I would put that in the form of a motion, and I would say up to $50,000.
Second. Second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilor Aronsug?
Big yes.
Yes. Councilor Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Chakoudas?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Calucci?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Field?
Present.
Present. Councilor Hogan?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Lozey absent. Councilor Net?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Starbird?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Walsh?
Yes. Just want to say one more thing. Councilor Chakoudas has been up there a couple of times, called me about it, and she's been doing a lot of work, so I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Public hearings.
First public hearing is a proposed amendments to eliminate the residency provisions in the city charter, home rule petitions, and existing ordinances for the city of Lynn and the Water and Sewer Commission.
Going to open up the hearing for anyone that wants to speak in favor. Come up to the podium, state your name, address, Mr. Mayor.
Jared Nicholson, 19 Merrill Ave. Thank you, Council President Walsh. Good evening, councilors. Thank you so much for taking this up this evening. After the election this fall, my team and I dove into the transition process. We wanted to get started on building our administration, an administration that would work for all of us, for the whole city. During the transition, it became clear that one of the barriers to building out the entire team that works for the city was the city's residency requirement. Not only was it a barrier to hiring, but it was also creating really unfair situations for our people. The residency requirement, as you know, has been watered down over the years. Only 20% of our team is now subject to it. That unfairness is weighing on our employees. We're coming to you tonight to act with urgency so that we can move forward, building out the team that works for the city by fixing a situation that is really unfair to some of our people. I know that both Councilor Walsh and I feel strongly that we should be hiring Lynn people whenever possible. And that's why the amendments have been discussed to have a preference for Lynn people in hiring. With a Lynn preference, we would be confident that no Lynner would be denied a job that they should be getting. But without making this change, we cannot be confident that we are providing Lynners with the best services possible in those instances where we don't have a Lynn candidate with the right specialized skills. And because of the discrepancies in how different employees are treated under the requirement, we cannot be confident that we are treating our people fairly. Some of those positions that are subject to the residency requirement require specialized skills, have positions that have gone unfilled. And this is something you'll hear more about from our personnel director, Drew Russo. In addition, when we do not have a qualified Lynn candidate, this change would allow us to recruit from a broader pool. That will in turn help us with our efforts to improve diversity in hiring, as you'll hear from our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer, Faustina Cuevas. Lifting the residency requirement is an important step, but it's not the only way to address hiring in Lynn. Our administration is committed to workforce development so that Lynn residents can get opportunities to gain specialized skills. We actually just this week submitted a grant application for help to prepare a workforce development strategy. I know that there are other issues in the charter, and I look forward to working with Council President Walsh on a charter review. But this is an urgent issue that we need to act on now. And that's why Section 1.8 of the Lynn City Charter and Article 89, Section 8 of the Massachusetts State Constitution specifically make home rule petition one of the approved and legitimate ways to change the city's charter. I respectfully ask for your support this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. President, and it's great to see my former colleagues, all of you tonight. Glad to be here with you, and I am glad to see that both the Council President and the Mayor have taken this on early in his a new term as Mayor, and I wanted to come and voice my support for this proposal as well. And I want to thank you all for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight. Again, I'm here in favor of eliminating the residency requirement for the small percentage of city employees that are still required to comply with it. The Personnel Department, I think most of you are aware of this, estimates that this change would affect approximately 20% of the total 2,900 city and school department employees. Not only is this a fairness issue, but it's in the city and the taxpayers' best interest to hire the most qualified people for the jobs regardless of where they live. And you may have heard me say this in my term as mayor. I was not concerned where people put their head down at night. I was more concerned with the people that work for the city's ability to get the job done and make sure that that job was the best possible job for the money that the taxpayers are paying and expect from the city and from the employees that work for the city. I'm proud of the steps that we took during my administration to improve and professionalize the overall hiring process, including making our workforce more diverse. Certainly, there's still more work to be done, and I have no doubt that Mayor Nicholson will strongly build upon this foundation. Almost every other community in the Commonwealth does not have a residency requirement, and pretty much all other comparable communities to Lynn do not have a residency requirement. While I was mayor, every department raised residency as an issue whenever there were positions to be filled. Each department talked about it, and they talked about the challenges they faced because the residency was included in the city charter. Additionally, consultants with the Collins Center at UMass Boston, Metropolitan Area Planning Council as well, pointed out that residency was inhibiting our ability to attract quality staff when conducting various related work during my administration. The state also recognized this, and I know we were all here together. Doesn't seem like it was 4 years ago, but it was in 2018 when we worked together to put legislation to take the city out of the financial crisis we all faced together. As part of that legislation, and if you all remember, the state made sure that part of that legislation would include that 2 top department heads, both the chief financial officer and the school superintendent, would not be subject to the residency requirement. That was came directly from Sean Cronin and DLS and the administration as we were moving and making that legislation both successful and with all of your hard work, move the city forward. None of this means, and I think the mayor clearly stated this, that the people who join our hardworking city workforce can't be from Lynn. In fact, I also support a Lynn preference for these jobs if 2 people are otherwise evenly matched for a job. Obviously, we want to see the Lynn person get that job. And during my time as mayor, there really wasn't an appetite to make this change, although I would have liked to have seen this change happen sooner than it's happening, but I'm excited to see that you are taking this on tonight. Again, this was a top issue that I raised with Mayor Nicholson during his transition, and I stand with him and I stand with the council in supporting eliminating this antiquated requirement. Thank you again for letting me speak. And again, it was a pleasure to see all of you tonight, and keep up the good work. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Please state your name and your address.
Austina Cuevas, 74 Broadway. Buenas noches. Good evening, everybody. I am the city's Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Officer, and I appreciate being able to speak on this this evening. I come to speak in favor of eliminating the residency requirement, and I'm going to do that by sharing my own journey and my own story. I grew up in Lynn, like many of you. I am an East Lynn girl. Go Bulldogs. My family and I lived on Essex Street for 15 years, and then we moved to Chestnut Street. When I went away to college, my aspirations were always to come back to the community that raised me, Lynn. Unfortunately, at the time of my college graduation, the opportunities were just not there, so I kept traveling and moving. I finally made the decision to return back to Massachusetts in 2018, after living in the frozen tundra of Minnesota for 3 years. I was eager to come back to my community and to work in Lynn. I was on the City Hall website almost daily looking for job opportunities, and at times felt really discouraged because of the residency requirement. Lynn housing is not favorable for a middle-class single-person income, and I was no exception. I had to make the tough decision to either live outside of Lynn and seek other job opportunities or to live with family in circumstances that many of you would find undesirable. I decided to stay in Lynn in those undesirable circumstances just so that I could have a stronger chance of being able to work in this community. That's not equity, and you can hear me shaking because this is my story I'm telling. That's an unfair choice we are forcing people to make. As a Lynner, I don't stop being that only because I am forced to live somewhere else. If I want to contribute to my community, I should be able to do that. If I want to work here and I am qualified, I should be able to do that. That's equity. Many people who look like me, other learners who were forced to move because of rising rent costs, should have an opportunity to work here if they so choose. Equity is hiring the right person for the job despite where they live. We are all in agreement that preference should and will be given to the current Lynn residents. And in case that we do not have a qualified Lynn resident, this will expand our ability to reach a broader, more racially and linguistically diverse pool. Equity is not either or thinking. Equity is saying that we can eliminate this residency requirement and put an effort forth to develop our current Lynn workforce. I know our mayor is committed to equity and committed to being a yes and leader who can multitask and elevate multiple important issues at once. Let's be all about equity and not outdated policies which no longer serve us. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor?
Good evening, Drew Russo, 25 Bellevue Road. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight in support of the proposal to remove or amend the residency requirement from the city charter, and I'll limit my comments to those particular issues related to my work as personnel director. First and foremost, the system that we have does lack equity when assessing the situation of current employees. As Mayor Nicholson and Council President Walsh pointed out in their op-ed for the Daily Item, more than 7 in 10 Lynn employees are already exempt from the requirement by statute, or in limited cases, as former Mayor McGee mentioned, by the charter itself, like the example of the superintendent of schools and the chief financial officer. In the fall of 2019 and winter 2020, when we were engaged in extended contract negotiations with our unions, the one major point of agreement that we could always come back to was a union support for the previous administration's efforts to remove the residency requirement. This is language that continues to exist in our contracts today, but that cannot be equally applied due to provisions in state law that exempt some local employees and not others. The current charter language requires that an employee must establish city residency within 6 months of hire. And I want to point out, this is a marked difference from, say, Boston, which is another local municipality, one of the few that has a similarly strong residency enforcement requirement. There, an employee actually has to be in the job on the date of hire. So as a result, we have hired employees over the years who are non-residents at the time of their employment. But when the 6-month window doesn't account for, what it doesn't account for, are challenges in finding housing. And in some cases, we've had residency mandated employees who have complied with the 6-month window that have ultimately lost their housing and were unable to find new residency within the city. And under the current charter, as I understand it, that employee would essentially forfeit their position for being out of compliance, but through no fault of their own. During my nearly 3-year tenure as personnel director, and thank you for the support of both administrations and the council, we have improved our hiring practices, strengthened our interview processes, and expanded our applicant pools through more aggressive use of social media and electronic networking, and Councilor Hogan, you've certainly helped out with that. We've received over 700 unique applications for 63 non-civil service positions during that time. And that doesn't include the part-time emergency positions that we filled to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic. We've increased our workforce diversity within City Hall itself. In 2018, roughly 11% of the staff who work in this building were people of color. That's compared to over 30% today. And there's more work to do and more room to grow. And all of 5 of the positions I've just mentioned, by the way, were filled with current Lynn residents. You know, I've sat on a lot of interviews over the last few years, most of them that we've conducted since I came into the position. And I really don't think that lifting the residency requirement will put Lynn candidates at a disadvantage, because I know from working with our hiring managers that they're always excited to bring forth that Lynn candidate that can continue the city's strong tradition of civic service that was instilled in all of us. And I really sincerely doubt that that enthusiasm will be dimmed by increasing the pool. What it will do, however, is give hiring managers flexibility when our searches don't bear fruit. The mayor and council president have cited our difficulty in hiring electrical and plumbing inspectors, for instance. Absent this flexibility, the inspectional services chief asked the former mayor for permission to seek outside contractors to perform this work. As a city with a strong tradition of working collaboratively with our unions, I think we can all agree that we want those positions to be full-time union jobs. We were fortunate to find candidates in recent searches for nursing and information technology support positions, but if the right Lynn candidates, or if Lynn candidates in general, were not seeking employment at the right time, we we may have found ourselves in a similar position. And I'll just close by saying I'm the first person who will admit that we can always do better in amplifying our message and increasing our outreach. And I'm really appreciative of the steps that Mayor Nicholson has already taken in the early days of this administration, as well as the work that the council does in this regard on a daily basis. But what we don't have right now currently is flexibility when we need it, nor do we have an equitable system for all of our current employees. For these reasons, I support the mayor and council president's initiative and add my voice to those speaking in favor. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? If you want to just line up maybe, and then we can get kind of an idea of who's there and who's next. Thank you.
My name's Calvin Anderson, 12 Concord Street in Lynn. I moved in, it'll be 22 years next month. And I'm one of the ones who's changed my mind over those years. When I first came in, it was like, oh, let's hire local people, et cetera. It sounds really good. But, then I see what was in the previous testimony over the years. Sometimes, despite the talent we have in our city, there's just not the right match for a job. So you either have to settle or do something else creatively. So I'm supporting this because it's time to get rid of the provincial attitude, and we are a world-class city, so let's act like it.
Thank you.
Lindsay Robert, 650 Boston Street. Good evening, council members. I want to speak in favor of eliminating the residency requirement for city employees. I'm a fourth-generation Lynn resident, and I've been a city employee for just over 9 years. I'm currently the head of adult circulation at the Lynn Public Library, and I also serve as the president of our union. As the head of the adult circulation, I assist in interviewing prospective candidates for my department. Library work is an industry in and of itself, with highly educated professionals. Since 2019, we've had roughly 9 full-time positions posted to the public, both librarian and associate level positions. Of the applications I personally reviewed, only 2 candidates had previous library experience, and neither of those applicants lived in Lynn. I believe potential candidates are deterred by the prospect of having to uproot their current living situation, especially given the climate of the housing market. The lack of experienced professionals within my department puts us at a disadvantage when compared to surrounding libraries. And I'm sure this issue is not unique to the library. It's my feeling that the entire city is losing out on finding the best candidates for positions. As a union representative, I feel the residency requirement is an equity matter. The police, fire, and teachers make up about 70% of the city's employees, none of whom are held to the charter's residency rule. Additionally, residency has been waived for executive positions within the city. For the 564 clerks, DPW workers, custodians, library staff, administrators, and other entry-level and mid-level positions, being held to the charter is simply unfair. To say that the housing market in Lynn is tough is an understatement. My husband and I bought our home just about 5 years ago through a VA loan, a benefit that my husband earned serving our country as a combat veteran. Before that, we bid on a number of homes but were repeatedly turned down, often because other buyers were offering well over asking and waiving inspections, 2 options that we did not have. Since buying our home, housing options in Lynn have only gotten harder to find, both houses and apartments. I have friends who've spent years, not weeks, not months, years trying to find affordable apartment that fit their needs, all the while finding good options just in the border towns. With such a tight market, having the freedom to search for affordable housing, both options in both Lynn and our surrounding communities, is imperative. Lynn is not the same city it was when the residency requirement was put in place. Eliminating the residency requirement will invite better qualified candidates to apply for jobs, will create more equity among our current city employees, and will afford all city employees the opportunity to find housing that is right for them. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Please state your name and your address for the record.
I'm a little afraid to say my address for the record because I am not a Lynn resident. I live in Salem, and Councilor Walsh, whenever he comes into Salem, calls me because he's nervous about the Salem people, and I promise you, we are very nice people. My name is Carly Mclean. I work for a quasi-municipal agency for the city of Lynn. I took 2 hours of personal time to be here, and the reason is because I just wanted to talk specifically about my experience. I've been working in the city for the last 22 years. I got out of college, and the first job that I had was in the city of Lynn working for unions, and I never left. I love it here. I had a lot of the same experience that some of the other testifiers have had. I couldn't find a unit to move into. When I finally found a condo, I couldn't find one in Lynn after working with a Lynn broker and bidding on a bunch of Lynn condos. So I moved to Salem. That doesn't change the fact that I love the city and that I've dedicated my entire career to working in the city. I take people to the city and I show them around. I bring my parents to dinner on Union Street at Fomen Kai. You know, I am an ambassador for this city, and not because I have to, but because it's meaningful to me, because the city matters and has helped shape the person that I am. And I think some of the concern about a residency is that you bring in people that aren't engaged with the city, that don't care about the city, that use the city as a commuter city in and out. But I'm here to tell you that there's a lot of people like me that you're gonna find that are gonna treat the city with care and love and wanna be a part of it, even if we don't put our heads down on the same pillow in the city of Lynn at night. So that's what I came to say. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? State your name and your address for the record, please.
Thank you, President Walsh, members of the council. My name is Rich Morrow, and I live at 48 Carter Road in Lynn. I'm also the legislative director for the Massachusetts Building Trades Council statewide. I'm supporting this because, as all of you know, we do not actually really have a residency requirement currently because the majority of the unions, either through statute or through collective bargaining, have been exempted. And we unfortunately have a situation where some of the unions, which are not as strong as some of the others, are the only ones who this residency is applied to. I believe that the mayor and you as the council will ensure that every Lynn resident who's qualified is going to get a job in the city of Lynn with this under the new regulation that you're proposing. So I think it's a positive step forward for the city, and in a matter of equity and justice, I think this ordinance should be adopted.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? We're going to read some letters that came in. The clerk, please read the letters into the register.
Dear City Council, Lynn has the best people and they should be given preference in hiring. But there are positions that are hard to fill where Lynn applicants don't have any specialized skills such as plumbing and electrical inspectors. In these cases, Lynn should be able to hire the best and not be held back by a residency requirement that does not apply to 71% of Lynn's workforce. The city is left to hire contractors, which is an expensive way to get work done. We should also double our efforts to educate and apprentice Lynn students for the skills we need. The big unions have bargained residency out of their contracts. That leaves the smaller unions at a disadvantage. Teachers are exempt and teaching jobs are hard to fill. How much harder would it be filled if there was a residency barrier? Living in Lynn is expensive. How can we burden workers with high costs? And why should you lose your job when you find your dream home in another town? There are other barriers to hiring, but the residency requirement is one of them. Starting salaries, lack of diversity, work conditions, crumbling schools, job advertising, cost of living, Lynn's image, hiring criteria, cronyism, and nepotism are all barriers that should be addressed. These are separate problems and should not hold up removing the residency barrier now. This is one problem we can fix. I posted a survey on Facebook about barriers to city hiring, and it took it down when people were voting 30 times in a row. Flawed as it was, the survey showed a strong perception that hiring in Lynn is about who you know. The residency requirement supports who you know hiring because it's easy to hire your cousin's daughter if the applicant pool is restricted. Hire the best to move Lynn forward. Jim Moser, hashtag all for Lynn. The second letter is, Dear Council President Walsh, first, thank you for working with Mayor Nicholson and clearly publishing your recommendation on this outdated and unfair requirement. Second, we have contacted the 4 at-large councilors and our ward councilor to ask them to vote to eliminate this requirement. Unfortunately, only 2 responded and both said they will vote to eliminate it. We assume you and the mayor will continue to work to eliminate it. We eagerly look forward to you and the mayor working together and moving our city forward. The mayor won every precinct, something of a mandate to try to get a new approach. He and residents deserve to fill city jobs with the most qualified people. Glad Lynn residents will get preference if qualified. We have sent a similar email to the mayor. I am sure you will not agree on everything, but discussion and transparency are critical. Best wishes for your success as Council President, Barbara and Sean Kinney, 3 Fernwood Ave in Ward 1. And we have one more from, it's a copy of a letter to the editor from 2018. To the editor, I applaud your editorial about changing the residency role for Lynn's school superintendent, that you put it on the front page in the Daily Item January 24th. I spent my career in education working in small urban districts. I was an elementary principal in Salem and a central office district administrator in Cambridge and Malden. I loved my work and gave my all for the children in those cities. If any of those communities had required that I live there, I would not have had the chance to choose between my home and my career. I live in Lynn by choice. I love my home and my neighborhood, and I have never wanted to move. I know I am not alone. I realize that some supporters of residency see this as an issue of loyalty, but what of the flip side? What of those who did not want to leave Lynn and unfortunately were not asked to? We worked as professionals in other communities, remained as Lynn residents, taxpayers, and parents of Lynn Public School students. It's time to honor Dr. Latham, her predecessors, and to cast the wide net for future leaders. Joe Sullivan of Lynn.
All right, any more letters?
Just the three.
Okay. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Seeing none, that part of the hearing is closed. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Come on up to the podium. This is the time. Just state your name and your address for the record, please.
Okay, I have to get tall. So instead, I'll just yell. Good evening. My name is Kathy Paul. I am the proud chapter president of Mass Senior Action Council, North Shore Chapter, and a member of the New Lynn Coalition. I am not able to speak on behalf of the organization I serve because my organization did not have time to hold a meeting to discuss this issue. So I am here as a dedicated resident of the city of Lynn. I live at 18 Bond Street, Lynn Housing. Like many in this room, I read in the paper just 2 weeks ago, the newly elected mayor and council president was putting this proposal on the docket. At Mass Senior Action, we follow a democratic process when making decisions that will affect the people in the community. Process is very important when making decisions for other people, especially when the people affected by those decisions trusted you with their vote. Since finding out about the speedy decision to call a vote, I have had many conversations with people from the community. The result of these conversations is people are divided. The division comes from a lack of communication from those who decide to make these changes. I know many feel changing the residency requirement would solve a problem the city is facing, while many others feel our city leaders are saying the residents of Lynn are not qualified to do the work that is needed. At 74 years young, I would like to share some advice to all of you sitting here as our elected officials. You cannot tell us our government is transparent when you put out an announcement to change a long-standing practice and give us 2 weeks to digest what this means to us and our community. I ask this body of elected servants holding more public hearings and presentation, close the division and the divide this proposal caused in the community and let us digest the impact. You might find out those of us in the community want to be a part of the solution. Jared, the people voted for you to be mayor of Lynn because you said during your campaign that you would be transparent.
You have to direct the questions to the podium, please.
All right,
Thank you.
sorry.
That's okay. Thank
Well, I have a question seeing that you have been in office 1 month. But I guess I can't ask that question now, but the question would have been, what is your definition of transparency? When Darren Sears was president of the council, Mayor Tom McGee was not able to sway Darren Sears to go with this vote. Both Darren Sears and Michael Satterwhite were against changing the law. I respect both of them for standing their grounds. Darren behind closed doors, Michael Satterwhite behind on Facebook soapbox. They both have pride in Lynn and respect for the Lynn residents. There are many multilingual, hardworking, qualified people in Lynn. Make sure you post the jobs where they will see them by all multilingual people of Lynn. Not everyone buys the Lynn item. I, for one, don't buy it. So please hit locations where multilingual people of Lynn congregate. Hit these places more than once or twice. Be diligent. Pass them and post them in every language so that someone will see the posting and pass it on to a friend or relative to apply that speaks and reads both their language and English. Come on, let's not go backwards. Let's go forward. Jared, you said you were going to have, you were going to hold monthly meetings or whatever. Transparency, town meetings. I have a bad taste in my mouth. Right now, I feel like a family member died, and I read it in the Lynn item while drinking coffee. I still love you, Jared, but I expect what you said in your campaign to be forthcoming and every day. I'm just a phone call away, and so are the members of Mass Senior Action and other organizations in Lynn and residents. We will be at your town meeting, and we will work with you. Remember, more people are moving into condos. They are now Lynn residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak in opposition? Come on up. Just want to remind everybody that we have to stick to the testimony only, and everything has to come through the chair, please. Thank you. You have your name and your address, please?
My name is Barbara Mann, and I live at 130 Eastern Avenue in Lynn. There are pros and cons to any home rule petition. On the pro side of keeping residency there are qualified residents being hired. On the con side, you can't find qualified residents to hire. The teachers are exempt as well as the police and fire by contract. If new union contracts are being drawn up, they will want non-residency included as well. If a new hire signs the form that, if a new hire signs the form that they will move into the city in 6 months, to my knowledge, there is no enforcement if they don't. It is too soon in the process. This needs discussion, but not prolonged to the next election time. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition?
Hi, I'm Shelley Hezekiah, 11 Sterling Street, Ward 7. I've heard a lot of people talking about being in favor of the residency being abolished. For me, this isn't about the residency requirement. For me, it's about the home rule petition. I worked tirelessly this past election to make sure people were registered to vote, telling people their voices and votes mattered. We voted this requirement in, and we should be the ones to vote it out. Many of you ran on the platform that our votes mattered, that we mattered. Right now, I'm having a hard time believing that my votes mattered. And if when at any time you can just do away with something, you'll just use the home rule petition. I have a huge problem with that.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? State your name and for the address for the record, please.
I am Lisa Pressman, 30 Red Rock Street. I would like the letter that I sent to all the council members and the mayor be read into record, please. And I also am here strictly, not about the residency law. There are issues, absolutely. I am here on the manner that this is being done. We the people, we voted this into law to be put in our charter. We took the time to go to the polls. We should be the one who decide if it should stay, go, or be changed. There is no rush. I've heard many of you guys say you've been talking about this for many years. Then why wasn't it put on the ballot years ago? I just heard Mayor McGee, no one had the appetite. This could have been put on the ballot years ago if it was truly an issue. There's no emergency here. This is not about residency. even I'm not sure how I completely feel with all the exceptions that have been made. That's not exactly what I voted for. This is about the misuse of home rule petition. It should go back on the ballot, let the people decide who put it there. Should they or should they not keep this? Or should it be adjusted? But this is about people voting, voter suppression, just ignoring what people have voted for. That is so wrong. It was overwhelmingly voted on to be put on the charter. It didn't squeeze by. It was voted by all of us. The city has changed a lot. There's a new influx of people. Who knows how they would feel at the ballot? But it should be on the ballot. A lot of people here are speaking, I understand, about the residency law in itself. That's a whole nother discussion. This is about home rule petition and using it in the wrong manner. And on that note, I please ask that my letter, and I have a copy if Janet, you didn't, do you have a copy?
We'll read it at the end of the public hearing.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Yep, thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? State your name and your address for the record, please.
Good evening. It's Michael Satterwhite, 41 Bridle Path Road, Lynn, Massachusetts. I'm here to publicly oppose the use of the home rule petition to remove the residency requirement in the city of Lynn. First, it's not just young people reaching out to me. It's moms, dads, grandparents. It's like we've given up on Lynn residents, especially in areas where education is important, preparation is important, paying and living, all areas vital for our growth. Lisa Pressman, who just spoke, said so eloquently recently that you can use your power to exclude the residents of Lynn from important decisions impacting our city, and we will counter that with the very residents of Lynn through an initiative. I feel like we take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. We haven't even given our positive changes over the past 4 years to have an impact. We set up the Discovery program at Lynn Tech for 8th graders who will eventually move on to the high school to become electricians and plumbers. Just this morning, Nicole Antwine said in a post about her son who just finished the 8th grade that he was able to learn robotics, graphic design, and more. And she encouraged people to apply for the Discovery program through February 18th because it's such a great experience for our 8th graders. With this change, they'll have to compete for a job within our city and even may be forced to look outside of our city for a job for better pay. There's more things than just the residency requirement impacting our city. More things that need to be addressed. We changed the admission policy at Lynn Tech prior to me getting off the school committee, a school my wife is a proud graduate of. She's a nurse practitioner. She graduated with her CNA at Lynn Tech and worked within the city of Lynn during her time there. She also worked as a school nurse in our city as a Lynn resident and is planning on opening an office right here in Lynn. We're trying to expand our community enrichment program and give Michelle Guzman a fighting chance. Yet again, there's no pipeline to these much needed jobs. Ms. Guzman just was quoted to have a goal of getting 100 Lynn residents into her program. We have the North Shore Community College, a school that took part in me gaining my paralegal degree, which led me to my bachelor's and my law degree. We should be working with North Shore Community College in a discounted program to get our residents educated in the areas we have needs. These are all Lynn stories and steps in the right direction. I'm working with groups to compile recent data on our hiring practices, and that information should also be presented to our residents, not just let's get rid of the residency requirement. We can't be the city that just does enough to check off some boxes. We have to be the city that invests in the people that invest in the city. The notion that we have to look outside of our city to employ a staff that resembles our city is a nice way of saying we gave up on building up our communities. I got to work alongside some of you for the past few years and have known others for most of my life. I respect you. I want to see you succeed, but this is not the way. I strongly oppose using the home rule petition when we have the ability to reach out to our community to have them involved in a change that we hope to have in our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Please state your name for the record and your address.
Good evening. Joanne Lindner, 302 Linwood Street. I'm not sure how I feel about residency. However, I am against this process. The city has not reviewed the charter since the 1990s. The city has depended upon the legislature to govern the city using home rule petition. Under Section 8-1, the charter states that the city council shall provide in each year ending in a 4 for a review of the charter by a special or standing committee of the city council and 4 persons to be appointed by the mayor. The joint committee shall file a report within said year recommending any amendments or revisions deemed necessary or desirable. The city didn't review the charter in 2024 or 2014. Can the residents expect a charter review in 2024? I feel the city should review the charter with a committee before requesting another home rule petition from the state legislature. I have a friend that lives in Medford, which is a city comparable to Lynn. I asked her how often Medford goes to the legislature for a home rule petition. Her answer was once in 20 years. Why is Lynn so dependent upon the legislature? I would also like to know if there's any data to back up the request for not having a residency requirement. I assume the city has research to back this up. Teachers don't have to live in the city, yet we have problems finding teachers willing to work here. Could there be other obstacles? Maybe the rate of pay? During the campaign, Mayor Nicholson was asked during the August 29th debate what his first priority was. The mayor's response was infrastructure, roads, and housing. This is not infrastructure, roads, or housing. The mayor also stated that he would diversify City Hall for the residents of Lynn. Lynn is a very diverse city. Why would you want to look outside the city? You were also asked if you were in favor of charter review. You responded yes. When can the public expect an announcement for the committee? Has there been any thoughts about city-owned vehicles leaving the city daily? Have you considered gas costs? I know the city self-insures for health insurance. We all know how that's played out. Do we also self-insure vehicles? This issue did not come up within 1 month of a new administration. We all know it was discussed late last year. I wonder why, while it was being discussed in the fall, it was never brought up as new business, letting the public know that this is being considered with transparent debate. Where is the transparency? Is the reason it was never brought up because it was an election year? Again, I ask, where is the transparency? I certainly hope that you will consider what I've had to say and vote no on this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? We have some letters. We have a letter we're going to read.
We have two letters. Good afternoon, council members. I am reaching out regarding the use of the home rule petition to address the residency requirement for city positions. I want to ask all of you to be reflective on that action and ask yourselves, is this the best move for my constituents? This past few years, there have been a huge outcry from Lynn citizens over the lack of transparency and communication from our city government, myself included. This last election season, we all heard the slogan, all of us, and various other phrases of voter togetherness. Please stop and think about that for a moment. Would using the home rule petition be a good action to honor the voters' voices of this city? Please consider making this an issue, a bigger discussion that includes all of Lynn, not just the members currently sitting on the city council. Involve the voters, create transparency. Thank you, Kimberly Del Rey. And the second letter is, on March 4th, 2019, a local newspaper reported that City Council President Darren Sear proposed a new ordinance to enforce the residency requirement in the city of Lynn. That would be enacted by a home rule petition. This was in response to Andrew Hall, the DPW commissioner, selling his house in Lynn and buying a house in Marblehead, to which Andrew Hall admitted to moving from the city of Lynn. Attorney James Lamanna was head of the Residency Compliance Commission at the time of the aforementioned article. Mayor Thomas Miggy had no comment on the residency requirement at the time, neither did any other council member except for Council President Darren Sear and Ward 1 Councilor Wayne Losey. Mr. Losey had issue with amendments to the residency requirement being done by home rule petition and stated he would be in favor of any changes supported by voters. But right now, it was a city law and should be enforced. We continue to use home rule petitions that are detrimental to the city and its residents and beneficial to those that want to take from our city. In an article from a local newspaper dated March 25th, 2020, the city hired its first planner in more than 2 decades. City of Lynn hires planner Lynn Item. The position of city planner was eliminated shortly after Kevin Gainey retired by home rule petition. We often speak about how not having a city planner hurt our city and its economic growth over the past 2 decades, and the elimination of the position was done without Lynn voter input. We often wonder why our city became less inclusive because we had no say. In another article from a local newspaper dated August 9, 2014, Kudanis stressed government reform. 11th Essex District candidate Akateria Panagopoulos Kudanis was not in favor of using home rule petition to increase salaries for mayor and council among other things, and said she would support whatever the will of the people would be. In another article from a local newspaper dated August 14, 2014, regarding Gallo, wrong time to ask for an increase, the 11th Essex District candidate school committee member and current Lynn Public Compliance Officer Charlie Gallo was against a home rule petition that would have increased the salary of the mayor and councilors without voter input, saying, "I'm a grassroots guy, I answer to the people." Not too long after the raises were eventually placed by a home rule petition without the voters' input, the city was in financial turmoil, and we had to borrow $14 million from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. The home rule petition has been abused and used again against political opponents in our city. In another article from a local newspaper dated July 11, 2013, Kennedy appoints Karen as temporary Lynn CFO. Following Tuesday's 8-3 vote against Kennedy's nomination of Karen for CFO post, Councilor at Large Daniel Cahill asked city lawyers to draft a home rule petition allowing the legislature to do away with the CFO job and strike it from the city charter. At one point, a sitting city councilor wanted to get rid of the position of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, demanded we have been filled by a full-time employee years later in order to borrow $14 million to balance our budget and avoid receivership. I have been contacted by hundreds of residents wanting to know why the rush. This is not an emergency. Had it were, all of you have mentioned that while you were running for election just a few months ago, it is insulting to say that in a city with over 100,000 people that no one in Lynn is qualified. Where is the data on which positions you're referring to? Where is the data on how you exercised all resources to get applicants? The teachers do not have to live in Lynn as they are exempt from this rule. Yet everyone understands it has been difficult, to say the least, to get teachers to come to work here in Lynn. Obviously, it has nothing to do with residency requirements, and that is not required for teachers. I am not here to argue the pros and cons of the residency law that the voters chose to have in our city charter. I am here to argue the way you are trying to ignore the voters by using home rule petition so that they don't have a say. I am aware that there are 2 ways to change our charter: having it on the ballot for the residents to vote, and number 2, home rule petition, where you get to bypass the residents of this city. Though the second part may be legal, it is still, our case, immoral. How do you plan to look at the people who begged to vote for you while telling them your vote counts, your vote matters if you go forward with this? As many administrators do at all levels of our government, from city to federal, they try to get something done quickly in hopes that by the time it comes around for elections that the people will forget about it. They will not forget. Why is this not going on the ballot for we the people to decide on the law we voted to place in the charter? Why are the people not being given the right to decide if we still want this rule or not? There is an election this November. Why not use your time and energy to get back on the ballot? One of the main reasons we have low voter turnout is asked. People will tell you that they do not feel their vote matters or counts. If you approve the use of the home rule petition, you're telling them that they are right. Way too many organizations work so hard to get people to register to vote and to get them to come out and vote, including many of you. Organizations were spending every weekend in front of Market Basket getting people to register to vote. Do not let all their hard work be for nothing. If the council and the mayor pursues a home rule petition on the residency requirement, I will work with the community on an initiative petition to get the residency requirement back on the ballot in Lynn for our residents to be heard under Chapter 43, Section 39. If we need to review the Lynn Charter, let us review the charter entirely, and if we decide to make changes to the Lynn Charter, we can bring the proposed changes to the voters for approval. Again, it is not about residency, it's about the residents having the right to vote on their charter, especially on topics never discussed during the previous election. Also, Mayor Nicholson ran for the slogan, "All of Us," but has limited the voices to a few on this topic. We must get back to local government being for the people, by the people. We must be inclusive in our governing and include the will of the people in these important lessons. Please put this on the ballot. Please vote no to using the home rule petition. Please show beyond doubt to the residents of the city that their votes do count and matter. Lisa Pressman, 30 Red Rock Street, Lynn, Massachusetts.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing none, that part of the hearing is closed. What is the wish of the council?
Mr. President, just a point of information. I know personally I have received other correspondence, whether it's a phone call, an email, a conversation at Market Basket, and I'm sure my colleagues have too, of others who spoke in favor and opposed, none asking those requests to be mentioned into the record. So, but I'm sure everybody has reached out to their colleagues, to myself and my colleagues on the council as well.
Is there any other letters or anything to be read into the record?
Nope, that was it.
Thank you.
Okay. What is the wish of the council? Councilor Hogan?
This is a very, very serious subject here. The people elected myself for my position, and I'm 100% behind putting this on the ballot. And tonight, I'm going to vote no against this and keep this for the residents alone.
Councilor Starbin.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I don't particularly disagree with much of what has been said by the proponents for this change tonight. What I disagree with is the mechanism in which we're trying to make this change. Using home rule petition as a vehicle to get this done, I think is wrong. Again, as Councilor Hogan said, I would be 100% in favor of putting this on the ballot, just as it was a little over 20 years ago when we asked the voters of the city to weigh in on it. And I think that presented with honest information, the voters will do the right thing. And I'd like to, talk about the tale of two votes regarding schools. When we went down the road to build a new Marshall Middle School, we did such in a way that involved the community, was open, transparent, residents were fully informed of what was going on, and we got 80% of the residents of Lynn to support that school. A few years later, we try another school project. People didn't feel as involved. Some people felt it was being stuffed down their throats. Some people felt that it wasn't open and transparent, and they killed it. I think if you package this up with honest, open, transparent information and bring it to the voters of Lynn will do the right thing. But I cannot support using home rule petition as a mechanism to do away with residency and change the status.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Barton?
Mr. President, motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second? All right. Discussion.
On discussion?
Yep.
I have an amendment that I'd like to enter in to the existing residency requirement. I can read it as follows. Section 3-7, F as in Frank, of the Lynn City Charter is hereby amending by striking and repealing the first and second sentences, which read, qualifications. All persons elected to a city office by the city council under this section shall at the time of their election and at all times during their tenure in such office be a resident and a voter of the city. Establishment of a principal place of residence outside of the limits of the city of Lynn shall be deemed to be an automatic resignation of the office to which said person was elected. I would entertain that as an amendment.
We have an amendment on the floor. We have a motion.
And furthermore, Section 3-7F shall now read as follows. Qualifications. The City Council may, by ordinance, establish additional standards of competence and suitability which may be required of candidates for any office to be filled by vote of the City Council. That is the second part of this amendment.
We have a motion for an amendment. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. Roll call on the amendment.
For the amendment.
This is for the amendment.
Councilor Alansug?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis? Yes. Yes. Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Hogan?
Yes to the amendment.
Yes. Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Lozey absent. Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Starbird?
Yes to the
Yes.
amendment.
Yes to the amendment. Counsel Walsh?
Yes to the amendment.
Yes, that is for the amendment.
Council LaPierre.
Thank you, Mr. President. Additional amendment I'd like to put forth to this body, make a motion that we amend to reflect Section 8-11 of the Lynn City Charter shall be replaced with the following language. Section 8-11, City Residency Preference. Except where exempted by state law or an applicable collective bargaining agreement, persons who have resided in the city of Lynn for a continuous 12-month period prior to being appointed to any city office, position, board, or commission shall be preferred for appointments in any event where the qualifications and experience of the resident applicant and non-resident applicant are substantially similar. I would entertain that as a formative amendment.
We have a second.
Second.
Roll call.
Counsel Alan
Yes to the amendment.
Yes. Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Hogan?
Yes to the amendment.
Yes. Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Lozey absent. Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Starbird?
Yes to the amendment.
Yes to the amendment. Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes.
So the first order is going to be for changing the charter.
The first order to repeal
Yeah, we're gonna-
residency requirement.
So we have a motion. We have a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Counsel Alan
Hold on, can we go back to discussion?
Yep.
Sorry.
Absolutely, yep. Go right ahead.
So are we voting for,
This will be to change the charter to eliminate residency.
okay. Can we go back to discussion? Because I
Go ahead,
really
yeah, absolutely.
important.
Yep.
Sorry, I missed that part. Like anybody else, I also receive a lot of phone calls and emails and discussions at Market Basket. I'm ready to vote tonight. I did all my research. I talked to a lot of people. But there are clarifications that I need to ask. And if I could invite Attorney Lamanna and Drew Russo, please. Very question that is important. If we are going to approve this tonight, are we going to do some stipulations? Is that possible to add stipulation to this? For example, if we're going to hire job description, it needs to have 1 month to allow all Lynners to apply. After 1 month, if we cannot find any Lynner, then we'll open it up to the whole universe. What is there a possibility for that? And question for Drew, and maybe you can answer also the first question: how comparable are salaries here compared to the cities nearby? Have you done any research about our salaries here?
So we've actually reached out to a couple of different vendors, the CFO and I have, about doing a salary study for the city. So that's information that we are in the process of procuring. Most of our salaries are governed by collective bargaining agreement and the salary increases that we negotiate per collective bargaining agreement. So I mean, that is what we've been operating off of. And then I don't want to jump in where Attorney Lamanna should be, but the charter mandates and what we follow in the personnel department is that positions need to be posted for 10 business days. So that is the window in the charter, and the people that apply in the 10 business days are the folks that are given priority for a position.
There's nothing we can do that as a body.
We would have to change that.
That would have to be an amendment to that section of the charter, either through the home rule petition, which is allowed by Article 89 of the Mass Constitution, or through a charter commission, which is a 4-year process. That's a much lengthier process. But as far as conditions and stipulations, we've had 2 potential conditions and stipulations via amendment offered by Councilor LaPierre tonight. One with a Lynn preference that was not advertised in advance of this public hearing, and the second was a separate standalone provision of the charter that states that in the limited circumstances where the council is the appointing authority, it states that the council appointments also have to be residents of the city of Lynn. For the amendments offered by Councilor LaPierre, those are stipulations / conditions to what was advertised in the item last week,
right,
and what was posted on the city website to allow the public to come and speak tonight.
Thank you, guys.
Any other questions?
Omar.
No? Anybody else? Any other discussion? All right, so we have a motion on the floor. We have a second. Call for the roll. Roll call.
Counsel Alanzug?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Hogan?
No.
Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Lozey, absent. Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben?
No.
No. Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Motion carries.
Okay.
Next one is,
Second one is going to be?
it's going to be residency regarding Lynn Water and Sewer employees and the commissioners.
Do we have a motion?
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion on it? Roll call.
Counsel Alanzug?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Hogan?
No.
Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Lozey, absent. Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben?
No.
No. Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes. Next one is residency regarding the GAR employees.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a
Second.
second? Any discussion? Roll call.
Counselor Alanzug?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Hogan?
No.
No. Counselor LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Lozey, absent. Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben?
No.
No. Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Residency repeal regarding the Traffic Commission.
A motion?
Approve.
We have a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Counsel Alanzug?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Hogan?
No.
No. Counselor LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Lozey, absent. Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben?
No.
No. Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next one.
Residency repeal regarding the eliminating the compliance Residency Compliance Commission.
Motion to approve.
We have a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Counsel Alanzug?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Hogan?
No.
No. Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Lozey, absent. Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben?
No.
No. Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay.
Next
This
one.
is, repeal the residency regarding the Planning Department.
The wish of the committee. We have a motion to approve. We have a second. We have a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Counsel Alanzug?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Hogan?
No.
No. Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Lozey, absent. Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben?
No.
No. Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next one.
Residency repeal regarding the Solicitor's Office.
We have a motion. We have a motion approved. We have a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Counsel Alanzug?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Hogan?
No.
Yes. No. Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Lozey, absent. Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben?
No.
No. Counsel Walsh?
Yes. Motion carries. Next one.
Residency repeal regarding DPW.
We have a motion approved. We have a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Counsel Alanzug?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Hogan?
No.
No. Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Lozey, absent. Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben?
No.
No. Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next
We
one.
have the residency repeal regarding the Human Rights Commission.
The wish of the council.
Motion to approve.
A motion approved. We have a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call.
Counsel Alanzug?
No.
No. Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Hogan?
No.
No. Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Lozey, absent. Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben?
No.
No. Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes.
Carries.
Yes.
Next one.
That's
it? All right. Jim Lamont, could I just ask you one question? Come to the podium. Is there anything else that we have to address tonight on the docket that you,
With respect to residency.
Residency?
That, as the opinion of the law department, that will eliminate residency. Those votes this evening that were established by ordinance. There were 3 or 4 home rule petitions, I believe 4 home rule petitions that will be sent to the legislature for final action. There are 4 home rule petitions that will be sent to the legislature for final action. The ordinances themselves, if signed by the mayor, will take effect immediately.
All right, thank you. All
Thank
right.
you.
All right, thank you, everybody. Next public hearing.
Next public hearing is a petition of Fiesta Shows for a carnival at Keeney Park from June 15th through the 19th, was set up on June 12th. The hours are Thursday and Friday, 5 p.m. to 10:30 p.m., and Saturday and Sunday, 1 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. Carnival is for the 4th of July Fireworks Fund.
Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Seeing none, that part of the hearing is closed. Anybody wishing to speak in opposition? Come on up to the podium, just state your name for the record and your address, please.
Tommy Hill, I live at 83 Memorial Park Avenue, Lynn, 27-year resident at that address, and 27 years I've been here fighting against it. And I would hope, we sort of had a little bit of agreement, they stayed down to the left. Hopefully they'll stay down there again, and hopefully one day somebody would try to do something to keep them out of there, or get them out of there, move them somewhere else in the city. I mean, it's a lot of headache for 20 minutes of fireworks. You know? I mean, hopefully one day you guys be in my favor. You know, and try to clean that park up. Now it's become a dumping ground. So hopefully one day somebody make a decision, help us out down there. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing none, that part of the hearing is closed. What is the wish of the council? Councilor Staubed?
Is Mr. Flynn here?
Yep, you want to go up to the podium, please?
Yes. Flynn, as Mr. Hill said, we did move that down closer to the basketball courts.
Yes, we did.
And is that where it's going to be this?
Correct.
This time? Okay.
All right, thank you. Just one second. Mr. Flynn, you're from Fiesta Shows, right?
Yes,
Just-
John
just-
Flynn, I'm the vice president of Fiesta
Thank
Shows
you.
out of Seabrook, New Hampshire.
Thank you, just for the record. Thank you, thank you.
Okay. As long as it's up on that end, make a motion to approve.
Make a motion. Wait,
Second.
Council Lap, Council. Can you just, yep, come on up here for 1 second. You can ask it to me from the podium, please. Yep. Nope, that's okay.
As far as there's rules and regulations to having a carnival. Sometimes they just get written off. I mean, one time I come down here, I complain, I try to find out what do you have to have a carnival down to the park. So the porta potties, police patrols, and all this stuff. So hopefully you guys would get the porta potties down there, have police patrol, and hopefully we'll get it cleaned up after you have the carnival. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, so we have a motion to approve as long as it's down the end, down by the basketball court. Go ahead, Council Staubed.
And will there be porta potties in place?
If it's approved tonight, porta potties are there, dumpsters are there, police details are arranged, fire department is out for all of their inspections, building department, electric department, and health department all come out to inspect, along with the state that comes out and does the inspections on the actual amusement devices.
Okay. Do you hire details?
Yes, we do. Not always being filled because of lack of personnel, but we do hire it.
We have some problems down there, especially kids racing around on the motorcycles.
Correct. And based upon that, the chief has sent down a squad car that will be down there. Most nights we do have the details, but when they can't fill it, they send a squad car there.
The chief and I have had recent conversations about having beefed up patrols down there as we get into the motorbike season. But, okay, as long as the porta potties are there, the details are there, then I'm good. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
We have a motion.
Thank you.
Council Lapierre?
Just a question to Mr. Flynn. Might have got lost in translation, but you do provide a cleanup crew at the conclusion of every night or on Sunday. What is your cleanup plan for the Meadows?
Every night it's cleaned up, and at the end of the event, when all the equipment is removed, we go in and do a final cleanup, and then I believe it's a DPW that comes in to do the final check and make sure it's up to their standards.
Just a chronic problem.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Flynn.
Thank you.
All right, so we have a motion to approve. We have a second. Any other discussion from the councilors? Councilor Field?
Maybe a question for Attorney Lamanna. I know there was a problem back years ago with McManus Field, with some tire marks and everything. There's a bond that's held for any repairs that are needed after, correct?
My understanding is, I know Lisa and Eric said there is an insurance policy that's required that names the City of Lynn additional insured as part of the approval process for any use of any public playgrounds, so that there would be a policy in place for if there were damage.
Thank you.
Yep, come on up.
I just heard somebody said something about insurance.
Go ahead, you
Right?
motion it to me, yeah.
So, like you said, somebody did tear up the field after they left.
Yep.
Nothing was done to the field. Why didn't somebody from DPW say, well, oh yeah, they rolled tire tracks all over the field. Why didn't they have them put some new grass down or something? You got insurance? So somebody is not doing their job.
We'll
Whoever's
look,
doing the inspecting or something.
we'll have somebody look at that, Tony. I can absolutely.
I mean, we got insurance. Let us pay for it.
Councilor Staubed and myself, if we need to, I'll help you with that, make sure, okay? All right, thank you. Just waiting for one, there's one more thing, there's one more question from the back. The gentleman couldn't come up to the podium, so Terry's just gonna give us 1 second, please.
You know,
Go right ahead, Mr.
Mr. President, since we have Deputy Commissioner Nerick here, can she just address the tire tracks? I don't want that. I want to close that up if we can.
Yep.
That was held McManus Field some years ago. Did Fiesta shows make good on the replacement or the refurbishment after the tires?
Okay. Lisa, if you could come up and just maybe answer to that a little bit for us, thank you.
Councilor, hi, thank you. Yes, Fiesta Show is responsible for any damage done on any of the city parks for the carnivals.
So Lisa, if there's any issue with the field, and if Mr. Hill has an issue with the way it was done, can we have him reach out to you and then try to get it rectified for him, please? Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Is that all right? Is that?
Yes.
We'll have. Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
All right. So we have a motion to approve. We have a second. Any more discussion? Roll call.
Counsel Alanzug?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis? Yes. Yes. Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Hogan?
Yes, 22 minutes of fireworks this year, please.
Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Lozey absent. Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staubed?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Walsh?
Yes. All right. Motion carries. We have public hearings to be set down.
We have a petition from the Mosaic Building located at 69 Baldwin Street for a sign permit. Petition of O'Reilly Auto Parts at 58 Boston Street for a sign permit.
What is the wish of the committee?
Put him down.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Vice President Barton for a second.
Committee reports, public property.
Thank you, Mr. Vice
Councilor
President.
Staubed.
Couple of items on the agenda. The first was to accept the bid for the sale of property on Wright Street. Unanimous vote of the committee. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Any discussion? Roll call.
Counsel Alanzug?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Lozey absent. Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staubed?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Walsh?
We also had
Absent. Sorry.
We also had written testimony by Dr. Patrick Tuckweiler, Superintendent of Schools, Fire Chief Steve Archer, ISD Director Mike Donovan, Health Director Michelle Desmaris, and Director of Elder Services Chris Gomez. All give testimony before the Public Properties Committee in support of uses of property at 2 State Street and 37 Friend Street. Unanimous vote of the committee to accept their testimony in support of those 2 properties. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Any discussion? Roll call.
Counsel Alanzug?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Counsel Lozey absent. Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh absent.
Is that all? Council Staben?
Yes.
Utilities. Who's chair of utilities?
Councilor Alinsog, Mr. Vice President. Thank you.
Councilor Allison.
We have two public hearings, petition of Boston Gas Company to install for concrete footing, petition of National Grid for Botham and Baldwin Street. We have a unanimous vote by the committee. Motion to approve.
Unanimous vote, second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Counsel Alanson?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Lozey absent. Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh absent.
Was that all for utilities?
Yes, sir.
License, Council Fields.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. We had a unanimous vote by the licensing committee. I make a motion to approve.
Unanimous votes, motion made, was seconded. Any discussion? Roll call.
Counsel Alanson?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Lozey absent. Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh absent.
Absent. Recreational cannabis. Councilor Staben.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. We had our quarterly update with the remaining dispensaries that have not opened as of yet. We bring them in periodically for updates. Tree Market, 100 Ford Street, is about to begin demolition of the existing building. Mass Green Retail at 829 Boston Street is under construction. Essex Apothecary at 233 Western Ave is just about to get their occupancy permit and all built out. Was for informational purposes only, no votes taken.
Thank you, Councilor. Ways and Means, Councilor Net.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Always voted by the committee to approve. I make a motion to accept.
Motion made, seconded. Any discussion? Roll call.
Okay. Sorry, I have to get the
No problem.
orders to read. Okay. We have an order pursuant to the votes of the Lynn City Council dated July 13, 2021, and September 28, 2021, regarding the American Recovery Plan Act. The Lynn City Council hereby authorizes that the city may authorize an allocation $350,000 for equipment as supplies and testing kits related to the COVID-19 pandemic for the City of Lynn Health Department. Order that the city may authorize the allocation of $50,000 from the Rideshare Fund for the purpose of purchasing electronic signage to be placed throughout the City of Lynn. Order that pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53A, the City of Lynn hereby accepts a gift in the amount of $4,000 from AIC Management. These funds are to be allocated to the Lynn Police Department and the Lynn Fire Department equally. There are no stipulations as to what these funds can be used for and shall be expended at the sole discretion of the police chief and the fire chief, so long as said expenditures are in compliance with Massachusetts law. Order that His Honor the Mayor and the Chief of Police are authorized to enter into a memorandum of understanding in a form satisfactory to the city solicitor relative to a gun violence prevention grant from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, where Roca Inc. is the grant recipient and the Lynn Police Department is the subrecipient of such grant funding. We have certified fund of $51,480 to the Fire Department by the MEMA for the FFY21 Emergency Management Performance Grant. Certified $50,000 for the FY22 Firefighter Safety Equipment Grant. Certified $40,637,157 to the School Department for the FY22 FC 119 ESSA 3 grant.
All right, what is the wish of the council? Your motion to approve. We have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Counsel Alanson?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Lozey absent. Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staben?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes.
Councilor Net, was there emergencies on any of those?
Yes, there was two items voted by committee for emergency for $350,000 and $150,000. I would like Madam Clerk to read these two items, if you don't mind.
You want me to read them again?
Yes.
Okay. Emergency 4, pursuant to the votes of Lynn City Council dated July 13th, 2021 and September 28th, 2021 regarding the American Recovery Plan Act, City Council hereby authorizes, the city may authorize the allocation of the sum of $350,000 for equipment, supplies, and testing kits relating to the COVID-19 pandemic for the City of Lynn Health Department. Second one is order that the city may authorize the allocation of $50,000 from the rideshare fund for the purpose of purchasing electronic signage to be placed throughout the City of Lynn.
I make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the emergency. We have a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilor Allensug.
Yes.
Yes, Council Barton.
Yes.
Yes, Council Chakutis.
Yes.
Yes, Council Calucci.
Yes.
Yes, Council Field.
Yes.
Yes, Council Hogan.
Yes.
Yes, Council LaPierre.
Yes.
Yes, Council Lozey absent. Council Net.
Yes.
Yes, Council Staben.
Yes.
Yes, Council Walsh.
Yes.
Yes.
Is that it?
Yes, yes, yes.
Do we have any old business? Do we have any new business? Council LaPierre?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to read under new business a resolution that the City of Lynn establish a formal process to review proposed developments within the City of Lynn. Whereas the Mayor of the City of Lynn, the Lynn City Council, and the city's development team are all working collaboratively to move the great City of Lynn forward. Whereas the Mayor and Lynn City Council on this date wishes to create a formal process for future development in the City of Lynn. Now therefore be it. A City of Lynn development team is hereby established, consisting of a representative of the Mayor, a representative of the City Council, the Director of EDIC, the Director of LHAND, the Principal City Planner, the Director of ISD, and the Director of Community Development and/or their designees. A developer who has an interest in a project in the City of Lynn shall meet with the development team where a proposed project meets the following criteria. Any special permit requiring review under Section 16 of the City of Lynn zoning ordinance entitled Site Plan Review. Any special permit requested in the CBD and waterfront districts. Any special permit requested in the HI and LI districts. Any special permit requested for a 1 or 2 family dwelling or row house in the B and B3 districts. Any special permit requested for a contractor storage building material or stone mason yard in any district. A log will be kept recording any and all development team meetings, and said log shall be maintained by the principal planner. Any project that requires a special permit will have a recommendation from the development team prior to a vote. It is the strong preference of the City of Lynn that a meeting with the development team should be scheduled prior to the filing of an application for a special permit. In all cases, the Lynn City Council and the development team shall be cognizant, that a public hearing must be held on a special permit application within 65 days of the filing of the application, and a decision on the application shall be made within 90 days of the public hearing. The City Council endeavors to not issue a decision until it receives a recommendation from the development team, so long as the decision is issued within the time requirements of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 40A, Section 9. Any project which needs site plan review will have a recommendation from the ward councilor prior to any vote. The Lynn City Council hereby votes to certify that this development process is in place, effective immediately, and forwards this resolution to the Mayor of Lynn for confirmation. Thank you.
We have a motion, we have a second. Could I speak from the podium for just 1 second? Is that okay? Just to explain what this is. So, over the years, I think there's been a discrepancy between what's going on at the mayor's office and the city council level, and then even just at other offices in City Hall. And this is going to be a boilerplate that we'd like to follow in order to be all on the same page so everybody knows what everyone's doing. I think at times we're not. It's confusing for developers, too, to come in. They don't know where to go. They don't know who to go to first. And I think this is something that's going to level the playing field for those issues. It's also going to keep us as a council in the loop on any type of discussions or anything that are happening. This is a positive thing that's happening, and I'm really welcoming it. I want to applaud the mayor for that, because I really think that this is something we talk probably 4 or 5 times a day now, maybe up to 6. It could be almost 6. I just want to, more than my wife, I know that.
President, let's table this.
I'd like to table this, because
There's already a motion, there's a motion made and a seconded, so.
Motion to table.
Yep, discussion, Counsel Staubach?
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, in my conversations with you and with the mayor last week regarding this, I thought the development team, the representative of the city council was going to be changed to the ward councilor.
If you'd like to make a recommendation to do that now, I would entertain that.
Okay, I make a motion that we change that first paragraph of representative of the city council to state the ward councilor.
Okay, a second. Attorney Lamanna, just up to the podium for a second. Just want to make sure that it's correct and.
I'm sorry?
I just want to make sure that it's correct and is that appropriate for that to be changed?
Oh, that's absolutely appropriate with the votes. It doesn't
All right.
have to be supported by a majority of the council, but that's,
Okay.
that's a lawful amendment.
All right, so that's for an amendment. We have a motion made, was seconded. You want one more, a roll call on the amendment?
On the amendment?
On the amendment.
Counsel Alanson?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis? Yes. Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Hogan?
Yes, with the amendment.
Yes. Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Lozey absent. Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staubach?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes.
So on the full resolution, we have a motion. It was seconded. Any discussion on it? Roll call.
Yes, one
Okay,
second.
Counsel Hogan, yep.
I just, this is very good between Council Walsh, Council President Walsh, you and Mayor Nicholson. This is something that was needed in our city, just to keep everybody on the same page and just to make sure development is out in the open and everybody knows what's going on. And I really commend you guys both for bringing this up. And thank you, Council Staubach, for including the ward councils in that paragraph. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Counsel Alanson?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Lozey absent. Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Staubach?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes.
Resolution passes. Any other new business?
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn, seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion adjourned.
I don't like giving up power as an at-large member here.